Should India go for a full-fledged war against Pakistan? Hello and welcome to yet another episode of One Take, and we are talking in the backdrop of the grim and the tragic incident which broke out in Pahalgam. The sense of anger and grief among the people of our country is palpable and is very, very understandable. All of us are angry. All of us are wanting to know how long will Pakistan get away. The Prime Minister's chilling but brief words for Pakistan and over the Pahalgam incident is also reassuring. But it also talks about something big which could be planned by the government at an appropriate time. During the Mann Ki Baat, the Prime Minister said, "Nyay hoke hi rahega, कठोर जवाब हम देके ही रहेंगे."
जिन्होंने ये हमला किया है उन आतंकियों को और इस हमले की साजिश रचने वालों को उनकी कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा मिलेगी।
The Prime Minister had several rounds of meeting, including the one with the Defence Minister, Mr. Rajnath Singh. The Defence Minister himself has been meeting with the CDS, the Army, the Navy and the Air Force Chiefs as well. The CCS has been in full action. But why is it that we are talking about a full-fledged war? The last time we remember in memory a full war which we are talking about was in 1971 when Bangladesh was created. After that, it's been Kargil, which is not a war which connects the entire country in terms of a full-fledged war. It was seen to be a limited one, but definitely a very important one in which India gave a befitting reply to Pakistan. After that, whenever Pakistan has stoked terror on our soil, we've hit them back and hard. The surgical airstrikes being one of those examples. But now is a different sense. The mood is very different. The mood is of anger. Till now, the attacks could have been on Jawans and a few civilians, but more than 25 of them all, and being picked up and asked to recite the Kalma, and also asked whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim. In the case of men, the trousers were pulled down to check out whether they were Muslims or Hindus, and then they were shot on point blank. As those pictures came out, and this is a time of social media, nothing is hidden. The victims' families spoke out very, very strongly. All political parties spoke in one voice and said that we are with you in whatever action you want to take against Pakistan. Of course, there are sporadic voices. For example, a Jammu and Kashmir chief of the Congress party who said that no one wants a war. You know, war means many things. A war is serious because of the long-term ramifications. It's not an overnight operation. It is something which can last for a very, very long time, and its impact and ripple is felt not just in Kashmir in this case, but of course it's going to engulf the entire country, because economically, militarily, diplomatically, all of it gets affected, which is why it is a well thought out move. Obviously, no one in their sane mind would want to have a war. After all, many of us who either were very small or some of us were not even born when the last war broke out, there are memories of blackouts, there are memories of electricity being cut off, essential rations not being available. The country goes into a financial emergency mode, there's huge money involved, and it is something which touches from top to bottom, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from east to west. And therefore, any government has to think out very, very carefully as far as declaring a war is concerned. But the mood as I see now is that even those who have been kind of talking about peace, give peace a chance, let's talk across the table with Pakistan, are no longer saying so. They are all saying and united in one thing: we have to give them a kathor jawab, to use the words of the Prime Minister. And the kathor jawab would be a full-fledged war. So before we ask you for your opinion about whether a full-fledged war would help, whether it is something which India can afford to do so, let's look at the various important factors which are taken into consideration. The most important of them, of course, is the military preparedness. There is no denying the fact that the Prime Minister has been stressing on the need for being prepared as far as the defence goes. For example, your artillery, your armours, all of that. We have been building it up. Many of our defence deals have been signed with countries which are considered to be superpowers in these areas. Israel, many of the Middle Eastern countries as well. But also indigenously, we've tried to become Atmanirbhar. Whether it's our Air Force, whether it's our land, whether it's the Navy, all of us have been very military prepared. They are Jawans who are periodically enthused. There's a reason why the Prime Minister wants to celebrate Diwali, for example, with the soldiers on Siachen, because you have to keep their morale high. And they are the people who will be full-fledged involved in war. This is an important consideration, but not a roadblock at all, because as we've been pointing out, without divulging too many details of our preparedness, because that's not the right thing to do, we are militarily capable of taking on. But you know, you no longer live in a capsule. One is no longer insulated. There's a world also which has to be taken together, which is exactly what the government has been trying to do. Reaching out to world powers, Israel, America, European countries, and mind you, most of these countries have been affected by terror acts themselves. So they understand our pain and our anger. We would require their support. We would require world opinion which will stand by us in case of a full-fledged war. And mind you, just like military preparedness, I think diplomatically also we are well prepared. We have nothing to worry about. Then we come to the economics of it. Wars are expensive. You know, it is not a short-lived one. It takes a very long time. For example, if you're talking about taking over Balochistan or the POK, it's something which is going to be long drawn. People may have to be asked to pitch in. There could be further taxation. There could be more money which is going to be spent by the government, and the government will certainly need more and more revenues. And it also means that many of your resources in terms of food, ration, all of that could be curtailed, which may not be available easily. There's also this fear of hoarding, of black marketing, and the government is keeping all these factors in mind. When I talk about the economics of it, I would say that that's one of the most important factors which I'm picking up from my way of government sources, where the finance ministry is also involved. With the finance ministry, I have to work out the finances. How do you ensure more and more revenue generation? How do you convince the people that when you talk about chipping in, financially is also how you chip in? Don't grudge if there's an extra taxation. I'm not saying that there's going to be one, but that's also a possibility we cannot rule out. And finally, the mood of the nation. The mood of the nation is certainly one, give it back to Pakistan full on. We are all ready for war. None of us, and me certainly, are not pushing for a full-fledged war yet. This is not something which we are advocating a disruption of peace. But please try and understand the sentiment on the ground. There's grief, there's anger, and as those pictures are played out repeatedly, we also realize that Pakistan is not just a rogue nation, it's also a habitual offender. They also need to be taught a lesson once and for all. And once and for all is the cardinal point, which is why we are talking about a full-fledged war. Not just confrontations, not just crossing the LOC and hitting it back, not just limited, sporadic surgical strikes, but a full-fledged war. Can India afford it? Yes, we can. And should India go in for it? I think we should. And that's the sense which we are trying to get from the ground. In the last couple of hours and days when I've been speaking to people, and mind you, they're not journalists, they are not reporters, they are no one from the bureaucracy or the government, all of them said, we are prepared to give what it takes as far as taking on Pakistan is. So I leave you today with this somber mood and this question, can India afford a war? But more importantly, should India go in for a full-fledged war? So be it. Do give in your reactions on the social media timeline, and thank you so much for watching.